we're going to talk about the gold to real estate ratio. I got this chart here. Right here is where I started buying real estate, but that's the price in gold. Gold was sitting around $250 in the year 2001. I didn't own gold. First time I bought gold or silver was right after, or a little after the 2008 crash. I started to learn about money, what it really meant. I wish I would have bought gold back then, but I'm glad I didn't. I know that sounds crazy. I wish I would have bought gold because I could have rolled profits from real estate into silver, into gold at lower prices. But I made a lot of money in the real estate run up. Why? Because I used leverage. And it's easy to use leverage in real estate to buy an asset that's going up because you have someone else paying your debts, right? You can't just go out and borrow, $500,000, $1 million to go buy gold because you got to pay the payments. And if you're not in the position to make that kind of bet or hold out for that long, you become a loser real quick if things go bad. But in real estate, even if the market turns down and the property's rented, someone else is paying your debt for you, and you're able to take those big, long risks. Well, back here, what's interesting to note is when I started liquidating all of my real estate, it was mid 2005, which was right here, which was right there, right? And right where you see this little flat spot, I know it's crazy. See this little flat spot? Gold was sitting at $600. I had made $1 million on paper, and I started to sell and whatever profits I could, my fourplexes, my duplexes, my condos, all the rentals, right? I had blank lots I was flipping to developers. And I watched gold go from that date when I started selling, right, to right here. And by then I'd already owned it. I owned gold and silver, right? Mostly silver. It hit over $1,800 an ounce. It went up, gold went up 3 times its value. Silver went up even more than that. And then in that amount of time, the main property that I lived in had fallen 46% from peak to trough in that exact amount of time, from mid 2005 to 2010. I looked back on that time, and I remember looking at my precious metals that I had that went up in value, and I was very grateful for the understanding and knowledge of precious metals. But I went, oh my gosh, can you imagine if I take that, sell it to cash, bring it to cash now, and then go and get a bunch more mortgages? Now, Mrs. Ninja, I have to admit, was very burnt out after this point. She did not understand, she grew up in a home that they only owned one home. They never paid it off. They always paid payments for cars, and then they would pay those off eventually, but they drove very, very, very old cars, which I have to admit, I can totally appreciate, because I'm like that. But she didn't understand the idea of pivoting. She thought, okay, if we're going to be real estate investors, we're always real estate investors. When I saw that, and I thought I would be too, until I saw the bottom falling out in mid 2005. So by 2010, she was so burnt out. We had bought and sold so many properties. She's like, I don't want to do this. She was totally happy working for someone else, which I consider a slave, not as an insult, because I worked for the government being a firefighter for 23 years. And there's a lot of perks to that, right? Just waking up and showing up and getting a paycheck and going home. But she was just burnt out. I told her, and they weren't the nicest conversations, I have to admit. Anyone out there that's married understands what that's like. When your spouse doesn't see eye to eye with you. I said, someday we're going to get back in. And I started preparing for this event that we're having right now. I started saving. And she goes, okay, we'll do it again one of these days when the kids are out of school. Well, the kids are out of school. And you obviously know, most people know that I've left California. I left my job, took the greatest risk I've ever done financially. And for the first time in my life, my wife believes in me more than I believe in myself, which is very humbling to say, to be honest with you. And I'm a big proponent of not putting all of my wealth into one thing, because I've lost 3 times because I put all the money I saved up for in one stock and I just lost it. Then I did it again and again. It's like, gosh, wake up, you know? And so I started doing these little piles of money, bags of money. And when one would go up, I've explained this before, I'd put it into something else that I truly believed in, an asset class. And I always tell people that if you can't explain an investment that you're in to someone why it's going to go up, either in the near term or short term, not just like, well, it's going to go up because some guy told me. If you can't explain the fundamentals of that asset class and the fundamentals of why it will bring more value in the future than it does today, you shouldn't be invested in it. And for the main reason, not because you're ignorant to the truths about that asset, but you will lack the stability and the peace of mind when it goes down in price, whether for good reasons or for totally manipulated false reasons, to either go and buy more or to hold your ground. You know, there's only been 2 stocks I've ever purchased that after they fell and I sold, actually went to nothing. Everything else went up. Horrible, horrible lessons I had to learn 3 times. Well, now I'm a lot older, obviously a lot wiser. All of us are as we get old, right? We become wiser than we were before. And we're sitting here with this precious metals. And right now, gold's sitting at an all-time high. This is awesome. And the real panic hasn't begun yet. The real panic is when everyone, the sheeple, hear about it every day from the mainstream media. They're spoon-fed it by CNN that the real estate market's crashing. When the real estate market crashes, the Federal Reserve drops interest rates. When the Federal Reserve drops interest rates, they also add to the printing press. That takes gold and just adds rocket fuel to its price. Exactly like what happened from 2005 to 2010. Gold went up 3x. Real estate fell in my area by almost 50%. Now we have a time when real estate has actually gone up more, faster than it did in the run-up to the Great Recession, which means the crash is going to be better. It is Newton's theory of relativity. For every reaction, there's an equal and opposite. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Market's the exact same way. All built off of human emotion. Now, I love to do these because I want you to be interactive and be answering so I could see it. And it's easier to see a number than, or let's do a letter. Type A, if you believe there is more emotion pent up right now in this markup, in this bull run, than there was in the run up to 2005. Type B if you don't believe so. Neil's jumping in a lot. Hey, Neil, how you doing? So my point being is that you're going to have more emotion to the downside. I'm trying to wake up everybody right now while we are in a moment that we can actually do something about it. It's not going to be fun to be the cheerleader when everything's crashing. Let's go make money. That probably won't be the most positive watched YouTube channel. But, hey, I want to bring 1 million people with me. And the thing is it takes a calm head. I believed that when I bought silver in 2010, and especially because I started buying silver at $18 an ounce. That was my first ounce. Obviously, I was buying all the way up to 40 something dollars, $45 or whatever it was. And I thought it was going to go to $1,000. And I really had to calm down. And that's where more wisdom comes in. And to make a ton of money, all you need to see is gold or silver to do a double and real estate to come down by half. Because if you realize how important and vital leverage is, and you have a good credit score, and again, I teach people how to start entities and then buy the real estate in the entity so it protects your life, your financial future, your credit score, things like that. When you realize the power of leverage, and then you look at how much metal you've got, and you go, to buy real estate to rent, I just need to have like 3 or 5% down. Maybe the worst I've got to put down is 10% because I'll do an 80-10-10 loan. This is an amazing time to be alive. And so that's why it's important to not only get your mental set up, but start. I know people that have already got LLCs fired up. They've got their bank account set up. They got money in their bank account. They haven't bought a real piece of property yet. They're like, we're ready. Man, you are, because they're getting, they've got to pay, in some states, $800 for a year to maintain that LLC, but they're like, the education is worth so much. And that's why I'm so excited about this next leverage, because gold and silver will only go up so much in dollar terms. Please know that. The money changers will make sure of that. But when you take that, because they're going to do it, and they take that leverage and they put it into leverage into real estate, you're going to make a mint. And that's the true victory in all of this. Becoming completely financially stable and independent. Can you imagine a day? Type the letter C if you have ever contemplated, I believe that I could buy enough real estate to where my monthly cash flow is more than I make in my job, so I can leave my job. I have been shooting for that for some time now. I can't wait for that. I'm totally out of the markets. I own a couple houses, but that's it. I don't have a big portfolio of homes right now. And I am going to have, and I've said it publicly, I want to buy 100 homes in this one. And I will be doing it on social media, because we're going to be teaching people how to do this. And we're going to be excited, and it's going to be a great thing. And somebody here, it's not that bright, I think. But here's a comment. Ninja, you're still living in a profit-driven paradigm, which is clearly being phased out. These are the defeatists that hide in the bunkers. They have no concept. These are the people who just give up. I know this isn't a bot, but that kind of comment would drive an elitist crazy. Would be so excited. Because even the people that know the truth, they want them so defeated and crying in the corner like a little baby, just giving up. Man, you give up, you don't try. They won. I don't accept that. I do not accept that. I hope you guys have a great day. The Real Estate Ninja is out.